Hello, Buffs, and welcome to this week's edition of NewsTeam Boulder. On today's episode, for this Friday, March 10th, we will hear about an inspiring cancer survivor story that will hit close to home for CU students.
Are water bills going up soon for Boulder residents, and how will that impact the Boulder community this year?
We will have an update on March Madness and where to watch it in Boulder, as well as what else the month of March stands for.
And finally, we will see the James Webb Telescope and how it has a chance to impact our understanding on what is beyond our planet. Hello and welcome to NewsTeam Boulder. I'm Joe Jarrell.
And I'm Angus Skinner. Now, an inspiring story that hits close to home for our CU community. College students often take their health for granted, but CU student Elisa Delacqua wants to change that. Delacqua was studying abroad in early 2022 when she received scary and unexpected health news that would change her life forever. Now, 1 year later, NewsTeam Boulder's Megan McPherson spoke to Delacqua about that moment and what she wants other CU students to take away from her story.
They brought me back, drew my blood, and 5 minutes later, they were rushing me to the back.
Elisa Delacqua always dreamed of studying abroad during her time at CU. But when the opportunity finally arrived, that dream quickly turned into a living nightmare.
I ended up getting COVID 2 weeks before I left for abroad.
A 20-year-old junior at CU Boulder, Elisa recovered, tested negative, and boarded her flight to Florence, Italy.
When I got to Florence and we moved into our apartment, and that's when things really went downhill.
Elisa could barely move off the couch or stand up from a chair without losing her breath. Her friends noticed she was pale and became concerned.
I think it was later that day, I was just okay, this is ridiculous.
This is more than COVID.
Yeah, I was there's something going on.
That something was cancer.
AML, acute myeloid leukemia, with 2 genetic dispositions that are make it super high risk.
A few days after Elisa received her diagnosis, she flew back here to Colorado with her dad. Once she landed, she was driven straight here to Children's Hospital Colorado with no idea what was to come. But her doctors had a plan and walked her through what treatment would look like step by step.
They knew that I needed 3 rounds of chemo, and then my last round was a bone marrow transplant.
The majority of Elisa's days in 2022 were spent in the hospital, even her 21st birthday. After the transplant in July, Elisa's cancer was officially in complete remission. 8 months following her first day of treatment, it was time to go home, for good. But not without a celebration first.
All the doctors and nurses are in the hallway cheering for you, and they made me a cake. I got to ring the bell.
1 year after she heard the words, "You have cancer," for the first time, Elisa is back in Boulder, taking classes online, living in a house with her friends. But what she's most grateful for? Her health.
Health is wealth is definitely true, and I get why people say that now.
And when asked what she wants other CU students to learn from her story, the message is the same.
My mom has always said this, as the Carpe Diem thing. Just kind of living your life to the fullest. I know it sounds kind of cheesy, but seize the day. Just focusing more on positive things.
Megan McPherson, NewsTeam, Boulder.
This month is Women's History Month, where we celebrate women from all walks of life. It is a celebration of women who have contributed to history, culture, and society. It has been observed in the United States since 1987. This month, CU Boulder is holding events, panel discussions, film screenings, and more. Keep an eye on those events this month around campus.
When we come back, we'll find out if our water bills will increase in Boulder soon and how that will impact our community.
March and April are the snowiest months in Colorado. In March, there's usually an average of 11.5 inches of snow, and in April, there's an average of 8.8 inches. With all of this snow, how will this impact the amount of runoff water we get from the mountains in Boulder, and how will it affect our water bills going forward? NewsTeam's Mimi Herrick explores why we'll be seeing a 6% price increase on Boulder's residents' water bills this year.
Just because we've been getting a lot more of this doesn't mean we can be using more of this.
And people are starting to understand that we cannot just keep doing things the way that we used to do, just because that's the way we've always done them.
The way we've always done it is becoming costly. Even with all the recent precipitation, scientists are predicting that parts of Colorado will be in a moderate drought this summer. Places like Aurora are expecting to see an increase in water prices.
We started this, what I believe is being dubbed now as a mega drought, because it's been going on for the last 2 decades in this whole western United States.
Here in Boulder, we're looking at a 6% price increase on water usage, 7% on wastewater, and 12% on flood management services.
Conserving water isn't drastically changing the way you live. It can be as simple as turning off the water when you brush your teeth.
Or shortening your showers.
Exactly. Small changes can make a big difference.
Again, it's little things like when you brush your teeth, don't let the water run. Same thing when you're washing your hands.
For Olson, education is the missing piece.
My goal with the water conservation program is educating people so that we can change behaviors.
The City of Boulder will be updating their water conservation plans later this year. For more information on how you can conserve water, check out bouldersaveswater.net. Mimi Herrick, NewsTeam Boulder.
With March Madness coming up and Colorado men's basketball fighting for a spot, NewsTeam's Leah Mayer found some watch spots around campus and Boulder for your viewing pleasure.
Although your March Madness might have started on March 1st, the NCAA Division I basketball tournament starts March 14th. Currently, the University of Colorado Boulder men's basketball team is in Las Vegas fighting for a spot in this tournament.
There are multiple spots all over campus in Boulder to watch March Madness coming up. One of the most popular spots on the hill for watching or eating is Illegal Pete's. Nick Rust has been an employee at Illegal Pete's for a little over a year and has experienced many big events at Boulder, including March Madness, football season, and more. Rust says,
We've built somewhat of a culture, and even this year I've noticed it, we get busier and busier, and I think it's just kind of turned into a popular spot for students.
They also have more TVs than other places on the hill, according to Rust. In preparation for events like March Madness,
so we'll schedule actual 11 to 5 bartenders, sometimes 2.
Rust usually enjoys busy nights.
Overall, I enjoy it. It's fun when people are having fun. It can be stressful, especially if you're bartending. Then that's when it's crazy.
There are multiple other places to watch March Madness in Boulder, including The Connection, Peckish, and The Sink.
Yeah, we're usually pretty prepped and ready.
Also, the CU women's basketball team is currently ranked 20th, moving into a March Madness position.
I'm Leah Mayer with NewsTeam Boulder.
Next up after the break, Tessa Stigler will be talking about what our weather looks like this coming week.
Hey Buffs, happy Friday. This weekend is looking a bit warmer, but that still might not mean that great weekend weather we've all been praying for. Tomorrow we're looking at a high of 55 and a low of 30. We've got about a 60% chance of precipitation and a chance for up to 23 mile per hour winds. So get that umbrella out, but keep in mind it could blow away. Taking a look into our 4-day forecast, of course, we've got that 55-30 for Saturday. On Sunday, we've still got a 30% chance of precipitation, high at 47 and a low of 27. On Monday, it's warming up. We're getting a little bit of sun. We've got a high of 53 and a low of 32, and that carries on through Wednesday with a high of 63 and a low of 37. So hopefully we'll get that good weather and we can get back outside. As far as Colorado goes, we've got some colder temperatures in the west. We're ranging from 10s to 20s, all up in the Rockies. And then as we approach Denver and Boulder, Boulder's looking at 40s to 50s. And once we get down to Denver, we could see mid-50s this weekend, which would be a nice introduction to spring. Nationally, we've got some high pressure systems over in the west, which could actually lead into some possible flash flooding and heavy rain for California. Up north, we're seeing the snow come in, which could come down to us. I'm hoping it doesn't, but we'll see what happens. In the Midwest, we've got some mixed precipitation as well, and in the south, we definitely are going to see some rain. Maybe not heavy, depends on the area, but it shouldn't be too horrible. And of course, we've got these low pressure systems coming through, bringing in that weather. And then let's get back to Colorado in the mountains. We've got less than ideal conditions for skiing this weekend. Copper, A-Basin, and Breckenridge are all under 60 inches, but Vail is looking great at 70. Copper's got 46 inches of hard-packed snow. A Basin's got about 56 inches of packed powder. Breckenridge is getting 51 inches just about, and Vail is probably your best bet at 70 inches of machine-groomed snow. That's all that I've got for weather today. After the break, Joe and Angus will tell us about some events going on in Boulder this weekend, and a look at the James Webb Telescope and the impact it has had on the world beyond ours.
We have plenty of activities this weekend in the Boulder and Denver area. On Saturday, Denver will be hosting the St. Patrick's Day Parade at 9:30 a.m. in Lower Denver.
Looking to get a sports fix? The number 12 ranked CU men's rugby team will be hosting the Denver Highlands Saturday at 12 on the business fields.
A polar plunge will be taking place in Boulder Reservoir at 12:30 on Saturday. Registration ends at 12:30.
And if jumping in cold water is not your thing, then Saturday night, the Battle of the Bands will be taking place in the Glenn Miller Ballroom at the UMC at 6 p.m. Tickets are on sale at $12 each.
And finally, on Sunday, the Connection in the UMC will be hosting a bowling tournament at 1 p.m. Entry fee is $11. Test your skill against some of your fellow students.
It's crazy to think about how much we know about our planet and how little we know about the space beyond it. That's where the James Webb Space Telescope comes in. NASA's latest engineering masterpiece has not only given us jaw-dropping images, but has also unlocked new ideas about how old the universe is and the possibility of life beyond Earth. NewsTeam's Ryan Zangolia has more.
What do you see when you look up into the night sky? Unfortunately for Boulder, not so much. Light pollution, the atmosphere, and even a cloudy night like tonight will cause all the stars to get lost in the sky. But what if you were just a little bit closer? How about 1.5 million kilometers closer?
That's exactly the case for NASA's James Webb Space Telescope. The $10 billion space telescope has made some fantastic discoveries in recent weeks, leading to those in the field, such as CU Boulder's Dr. Meredith McGregor, to be very excited.
For me personally, I'm really excited about everything that's being done in exoplanets because this is really the first telescope that we can do what's called transmission spectroscopy. So we're essentially waiting for a planet to transit in front of a star, which normally lets us see that there's a planet there because we see a dip in the brightness of the star. But a planet isn't like just a solid rock. Hopefully it has an atmosphere around it. And so the light from the star actually goes through the atmosphere of the planet, and that imprints the spectral signature of the atmosphere onto that light curve.
How far away is 1.5 million kilometers? To answer this question, I have a little diagram to help visualize it. So this green ball is the Earth, and this blue ball is the Moon, which is around 378,000 kilometers away. If the Earth and Moon are there, that means the James Webb Space Telescope is a little farther out. A little more. There we go. That's where the James Webb Space Telescope is, L2 orbit, about 1.5 million kilometers away. But it's not just about distance, but also how the telescope works.
So JWST has a bunch of different instruments on the back of it. They operate in the near infrared and the far infrared. And so this is, wavelengths that are a few microns out to about 25 microns. And we can use it to either take images or do spectroscopy.
So what makes JWST so important? First off, its position. It's located in L2 orbit, the farthest any space telescope has ever gone. That gives it a unique advantage over land telescopes, like the ones found here at CU's Summer-Bosch Observatory, and other space telescopes like Hubble. On top of that, it is multiple magnitudes more powerful than Hubble. Combine that with the ability to see in the infrared, and you get the most beautiful pictures ever documented of space. Now you may be thinking, this is only important for those in the field of astrophysics, but you have to understand this is just as important for you too. These images might change our whole understanding of how old the universe is, including us. On top of that, JWST is amazing at finding exoplanets, planets that orbit around stars. And according to Dr. McGregor, it might be the lead we need to find planets with life beyond us.
It is one of the most fundamental questions of humanity to try and ask, are we alone in the universe, right? We have a planet and it has life on it, and we don't know yet whether that's unique or it exists other places. And JWST is really the telescope that's pushing us to understand how the universe formed, how did we get here, and then what does that mean in terms of are there other planets out there that could host life?
We may not have an answer to those questions for quite some time, but the James Webb Space Telescope is definitely a step in the right direction. If you'd like to learn more about JWST, Dr. McGregor is holding a talk here at Fisk Planetarium tonight at 7 p.m. It will be free for all students with a valid Buff 1 card. Ryan Zangolia, News Team Boulder.
Thanks for tuning in to this week's edition of News Team Boulder. I'm Angus Skinner.
And I'm Joe Jarrell. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you next Friday at 4 p.m.